Ladies, sisters, today I want to share something that every woman needs to see, feel, and truly understand. This is about a truth that can change your life if you let it. It's about who you are, what you deserve, and the power that's been inside you all along. It's about finally seeing yourself as the incredible, unstoppable force you were born to be. First, let's talk about self-worth. Your worth is non-negotiable. It isn't something that someone else can grant or take away. It's not based on someone else's approval, their validation, or their permission. No, your worth is yours simply because you are here. And when you finally see that, when you realize you are already whole, already enough, something miraculous happens. You stop trying to fit into someone else's mold. You stop looking to others for permission to stand tall, to shine, and to take up all the space you deserve. Own that truth and watch how it changes your life. Now, let's embrace imperfection, because this is where true strength is born. I know society loves to sell us this picture of the perfect woman, the flawless life, but I'm here to tell you that's a myth. Every flaw, every stumble, every scar, those aren't weaknesses, they're your story, your strength. The challenges you've faced, the mistakes you've learned from, they've built you up. They've made you wise, resilient, and uniquely you. Embrace your imperfections, let them remind you of your journey and your power. Then there's the power of saying no. Every woman in this room knows the feeling saying yes, because you didn't want to disappoint someone, agreeing to things that left you drained. But let me tell you, there's magic in a woman who can say no. With love, who protects her time, her energy, her peace. When you say no to the things that don't serve you, you're saying yes to yourself, to your growth, to your happiness, to the life you deserve. And finally, let's talk about lifting each other up. The world has too long tried to convince us that there isn't enough space for all of us to shine. That somehow another woman's success dims our own. But I'm here to tell you, that's a lie. There is enough room for all of us at the table. When we celebrate each other, uplift each other, support each other, we become unstoppable. We don't have to compete. Instead, we rise higher together. Every woman here has her own light, her own power, her own path. And when we see ourselves, really see ourselves for who we are, worthy, strong, powerful, we become unstoppable. So if you take just one thing with you from today, let it be this: the world is waiting for the real you to stand up, step out, and shine like the force of nature that you are. Self-worth is the foundation of everything. It is the heartbeat of how you show up in the world, how you see yourself, and ultimately how others see you. Self-worth isn't just a feel-good phrase or a concept, it's a realization that should permeate every fiber of your being. It's the understanding that your value is not dictated by what you have or haven't done, what you have or haven't achieved. You are valuable simply because you exist. Your worth is intrinsic, it's woven into the fabric of who you are. And when you come to understand that, you stop searching for validation from others because you recognize that it's already within you. In a world that often tells you that you must prove yourself, that your value is conditional on external achievements, appearances, or other people's opinions, self-worth says, I am enough as I am. Imagine how freeing that is. When you know your worth, you walk into any room, into any situation with a quiet confidence. You no longer feel compelled to shape-shift to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be, because you already know who you are, and who you are is enough. Self-worth is not something that wavers based on whether someone notices you, praises you, or gives you a title. It doesn't rise and fall with the number of likes on a post or how many people approve of your choices. It's a constant, a steady assurance that no matter what, you are deserving of respect, love, and fulfillment. When you understand this deeply, you stop letting people and circumstances dictate your happiness. You realize that other people's opinions of you are not your problem, and that their view does not define you. Your worth is yours, and no one else has a say in it. Think about how this shifts your perspective. When your worth is non-negotiable, you no longer need to stay in spaces that diminish you. You don't need to over-explain yourself, to shrink, or to apologize for taking up space. Your actions, your boundaries, and your words become empowered. You begin to choose relationships that respect and celebrate you because you understand that you deserve no less, and you're willing to walk away from anything or anyone that doesn't. You see that self-worth is, at its core, an act of self-love. When you truly accept your worth, you're telling the world, I respect myself enough to choose only what honors me. This isn't arrogance or pride. It's the foundation of a fulfilling life. With a deep sense of self-worth, you become unstoppable because your inner voice becomes louder than the external noise. You are no longer seeking worth outside of yourself, and that kind of inner assurance radiates. It's a magnet for people, opportunities, and experiences that align with the truth of who you are. This self-worth will keep you grounded in times of adversity, reminding you that no challenge, no setback can strip you of your value. It's yours, innate and unshakable. When you embody self-worth, you become a beacon for others. You inspire them to see their own value, to rise to their own potential. You become an example of what's possible when you step into who you are unapologetically. And that is the gift of understanding your worth. It's a gift to yourself, and it's a gift to the world. Embracing imperfection is a powerful shift that can change not just the way you see yourself, but the way you move through the world. We are constantly fed images, stories, and messages that suggest we should strive to be perfect. We're told that if we can just look a certain way, achieve a certain status, or meet certain expectations, we'll finally be enough. But true strength and true beauty come from accepting that we are wonderfully, deeply human, and that means we are imperfect. It means we make mistakes, we have flaws, and we sometimes fall short. But these so-called imperfections are not weaknesses, they are parts of our journey, each one teaching us something essential. When we embrace our imperfections, we stop judging ourselves by impossible standards. We begin to see that perfection is a myth, an illusion that does nothing but hold us back. Life isn't meant to be a polished, flawless performance. Life is raw, messy, and beautifully unpredictable. Every imperfection, every mistake, and every scar tells a story of resilience, of growth, of lessons learned. When we stop hiding these parts of ourselves, we realize that they are a source of strength, not something to be ashamed of. We don't have to pretend to be someone we're not. We can show up fully, flaws and all, and still be worthy of love, respect, and acceptance. By embracing our imperfections, we make space for authenticity. It's a powerful thing to be able to show up as you are, without needing to filter or hide the parts of yourself that you think don't measure up. When you embrace imperfection, you're saying to the world, I'm enough. Just as I am, you're giving yourself permission to be real, to be vulnerable, and to let others see the parts of you that aren't polished. This vulnerability doesn't make you weak, it makes you relatable, approachable, and courageous. When we're willing to show our real selves, we create genuine connections with others because we're no longer putting on a mask or a facade. Embracing imperfection also makes us more compassionate both toward ourselves and others. When you stop demanding perfection of yourself, you become more understanding and patient with others. You see that everyone is carrying their own battles, facing their own challenges, and that no one has it all figured out. You start to let go of harsh self-criticism, and instead you become kinder to yourself, recognizing that every misstep is part of learning and evolving. You see that being perfect would mean being unchanging, fixed in place, and unable to grow. But being imperfect means you're always learning, always growing, and always becoming more fully yourself. Embracing imperfection also teaches resilience. When we accept that things won't always go as planned, that we will face setbacks and make mistakes, we become better equipped to handle challenges. Life stops being a test of whether or not we can avoid failure and starts being an adventure of learning from each experience. Instead of fearing mistakes, we see them as stepping stones. We start to understand that every stumble, every flaw, and every difficult moment is shaping us, strengthening us, and helping us become who we're meant to be. Embracing imperfection doesn't mean giving up on growth or self-improvement. It means accepting where you are right now, honoring your journey, and recognizing that you are enough in this moment. It's about shifting your focus from what you lack to what you already have. By doing so, you start to see your imperfections as integral parts of the whole, not mistakes to be erased or weaknesses to be hidden. Each imperfection is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life, adding color, texture, and depth to the picture. Embracing these brushstrokes gives you the freedom to live fully, unafraid of being seen exactly as you are. When you embrace imperfection, you free yourself from the chains of unrealistic expectations. You step into a space of acceptance, courage, and strength. You realize that the journey is never about becoming someone else, it's about uncovering and embracing all parts of yourself, especially the parts that aren't perfect. And in that, you find a strength that is unshakable, a confidence that is unbreakable, and a sense of peace that comes from knowing you are enough, just as you are. Saying no is one of the most powerful tools you have to protect your time, energy, and mental well-being. For many of us, saying no doesn't come easily. We worry about disappointing others, fear being judged, or feel guilty about prioritizing our own needs. But learning to say no is an essential act of self-respect and an affirmation of your own worth. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you are creating space for what truly matters, allowing yourself to focus on what aligns with your values, your goals, and your peace of mind. When you start to say no more often, you are setting boundaries that communicate what you will and will not accept in your life. Boundaries are not walls, they are safeguards that define where your responsibilities end and others begin. By saying no, you are drawing a line that protects your energy, time, and resources, which are all precious and limited. You are acknowledging that you cannot do everything for everyone without exhausting yourself or compromising your own needs. When you protect yourself with these boundaries, you prevent burnout and preserve your well-being. Saying no also reinforces your priorities. In a world full of demands and distractions, it's easy to get pulled in 1,000 directions, leaving you feeling overwhelmed, depleted, and unfulfilled. By saying no to things that don't align with your goals, you create more time and mental clarity to focus on what truly matters. This could be spending quality time with loved ones, pursuing a passion, or simply taking a moment for yourself. When you say no to what drains you, you're saying yes to what energizes, fulfills, and uplifts you. You're choosing to honor your commitments to yourself first, making decisions from a place of intention rather than obligation. Saying no also empowers you to stand firm in your values. Often we are pressured to agree to things that go against what we truly believe or want. We may say yes because we're afraid of conflict, of letting someone down, or of missing out. But every time you say yes when you really want to say no, you are sacrificing a part of yourself. You're betraying your own needs and compromising your integrity. By learning to say no confidently, you start living in alignment with your values. You are honoring your own truth, refusing to compromise on what's important to you, and showing the world what you stand for. This isn't just empowering, it's liberating. There is also a tremendous freedom in saying no without explanation. Often we feel compelled to justify our decisions, to over-explain why we can't do something or why we need time for ourselves. But no is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. When you stop over-explaining, you reclaim your power. You no longer need to apologize for honoring yourself or to defend the choices you make for your well-being. In fact, the less you explain, the more confidently you can assert your boundaries, and the more others come to respect them. Saying no also gives you the opportunity to model healthy boundaries for others. Many of us grew up without role models who showed us how to say no without guilt. By being the person who can gracefully decline without apology, you give others permission to do the same. You show them that it's okay to prioritize themselves, that self-care isn't selfish, and that honoring one's own needs is both acceptable and necessary. In a world that often praises self-sacrifice, this is a radical act of self-respect. Of course, saying no isn't always easy. It takes practice, and at times it will feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to people-pleasing. But each time you say no, you are strengthening a muscle that helps you take back control of your life. You're choosing to live deliberately, consciously deciding how you want to spend your energy and with whom. And as you practice, you'll find that no becomes less intimidating. It becomes a tool you can use without hesitation to safeguard your peace, energy, and priorities. Learning to say no is also an act of self-love. It's a way of showing yourself that you deserve to be treated with the same respect and care that you give to others. Every time you say no to something that drains you or doesn't serve you, you're affirming your own worth. You're telling yourself, I am worthy of rest, I am worthy of peace, and I am worthy of my own time. You're recognizing that your life is yours to shape, and that you don't have to fill every minute with obligations to others. There will be people who don't understand your no, who may try to push against your boundaries. But remember, other people's discomfort with your no does not diminish its importance. In fact, it often reveals who respects you and who only benefits from your lack of boundaries. By holding firm, you attract people who honor your choices, and you gradually build relationships based on mutual respect, not obligation. You start surrounding yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. Ultimately, saying no is an invitation to live more authentically. It's a decision to let go of the need to please everyone and to show up for yourself first. It's a statement that you are worthy of making choices that honor your needs, protect your peace, and prioritize your growth. And in doing so, you discover the beauty of a life lived with intention and the power of a single, unapologetic word, no. Collective empowerment is a revolutionary approach to living and thriving that fundamentally shifts our mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. In a world that often teaches us to compete with each other, especially as women, there's a quiet, transformative power in choosing instead to empower one another. We've been conditioned to believe that only a few of us can succeed, that there's a finite amount of space for women at the table, or that another woman's accomplishments somehow diminish our own. But the truth is that when we choose to stand together to support and lift each other up, we create an unstoppable force that goes beyond what any one person can achieve alone. Empowering each other instead of competing brings depth, resilience, and meaning to our lives. In choosing collective empowerment, we're saying that each of us has a unique contribution to make, a light to shine, and that the success of one woman is a victory for all women. It's an acknowledgement that our lives and stories are intertwined, that our paths may be different but are ultimately aligned. When we look at other women not as rivals but as allies, we open ourselves to an entire community that celebrates our triumphs and shares in our struggles. In doing so, we create a support system rooted in compassion and respect. The beauty of this approach is that when one woman rises, she brings others with her. Each achievement becomes a stepping stone for others, creating a ripple effect that stretches far beyond individual success. Choosing empowerment over competition doesn't diminish anyone's individual achievements, it actually magnifies them. When we see another woman succeed, especially in a field or pursuit that we also love, we have two choices. We can let jealousy and competition cloud our perspective, or we can celebrate her success and allow it to fuel our own ambition. By choosing to uplift her, we're recognizing that her success does not limit our own potential, but instead expands the possibilities for us all. Her journey serves as proof that what we desire is within reach, and that there's room for each of us to fulfill our dreams. This mutual respect builds confidence and resilience. It allows us to navigate challenges with the assurance that we're not alone. It reminds us that no matter how tough the road, there's a community cheering us on and ready to lend a hand. Embracing collective empowerment requires a shift in mindset, one where we recognize the power of abundance. It's the understanding that life is not a zero-sum game, that there isn't a limited amount of success, happiness, or fulfillment available. By shifting to an abundance mindset, we begin to see the value in each other's contributions. We learn to appreciate the diversity of strengths, talents, and perspectives that each of us brings to the table. This perspective also helps to dissolve feelings of envy or inadequacy, because we start to see that another woman's gifts or achievements do not take anything away from us. They are simply part of a vast tapestry where each thread makes the entire picture more beautiful and complete. Collective empowerment also fosters a culture of mentorship where more experienced women take the time to guide, support, and uplift those coming after them. When we invest in each other in this way, we create lasting change. Mentorship isn't just about passing down knowledge, it's about creating opportunities, breaking barriers, and paving the way for those who follow. It's about saying, I see you, I believe in you, and I'm here to help. In lifting others, we build a legacy that outlives us, a legacy that ensures future generations of women will have access to even more possibilities. Each woman who steps forward as a mentor plants seeds for a future where women no longer have to fight as hard to be seen, heard, and valued. Collective empowerment also transforms how we handle challenges and adversity. When we face difficulties alone, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, isolated, or defeated. But when we have a network of women who understand, who have perhaps walked a similar path, we gain strength. We find courage in knowing that we're part of something larger than ourselves. We can lean on each other for advice, encouragement, or simply a reminder that we are capable of overcoming whatever comes our way. This sense of unity, of belonging to a sisterhood, gives us the strength to keep going even when times are tough. It reminds us that we're not walking this path alone. We're surrounded by a powerful community ready to lift us up when we stumble. When we choose empowerment over competition, we also inspire the next generation. Young girls and women watching us are learning from our example. They see us celebrating each other, supporting each other, and they learn that this is how women can and should treat one another. They learn that it's not only acceptable but beautiful to root for each other's success. They grow up knowing that they don't have to tear others down to rise, that there is strength in unity, and that their worth is not defined by how they measure up to someone else. This legacy of collective empowerment has the potential to shift entire generations toward a more inclusive, supportive, and equitable world. Ultimately, collective empowerment enriches our lives in ways competition never could. It allows us to cultivate deeper, more meaningful relationships based on trust, respect, and admiration. It shifts our focus from how do I get ahead to how can we rise together. This shift doesn't just impact us as individuals, it transforms our communities and our society. When women come together, they create change, both on a personal and a collective level. They drive movements, build networks, and shatter barriers. Together, we become agents of transformation, rewriting what's possible and proving that we are indeed stronger together. In choosing to empower rather than compete, we step into our collective strength. We build a world where each woman's success lights the way for others, where each victory is celebrated as a shared achievement, and where every woman is given the space and support to flourish. In this space of collective empowerment, we are not rivals but allies, not competitors but co-creators of a world where every woman's potential is fully realized. And in that choice, we find not only strength but profound joy, fulfillment, and purpose.